tools that the firm uses nowadays. The company spends a lot of money on technology. And now even our presentation is on an app that only our advisors get to use. You can actually download it, but you won't be able to get into the system. Probably in the last, like 8 years, the company's been spending hundreds of millions of dollars in technology, because the future is that, as far as like how you communicate with others. So we're at one of Salesforce's biggest client. When we first implemented the system, we spent like 110 million, and every single year, just a lot of money. But it's a great CRM. And then what Destiny and Josh is going to be doing is they're going to be actually taking you through a presentation that we take every single client through to see what a day in the life of an advisor looks like. Because I think too many times, you know, I could be up here talking about the opportunity as far as what we have to offer, but if you don't know what our advisors do on a day-to-day basis, it's still kind of gray. And after they do the presentation, I'll share a little bit more about the opportunity and answer any questions that you may have. One thing that I'd like to share before we get started, is the audio? Okay, but what I can share is there's a huge opportunity in financial services right now. And the reason why it's a very old industry, but you know, it's not the
you have to coordinate with
sexiest thing out there right now, right? So technology, you know, working for Apple, Google, Facebook, it's like, oh, that's so exciting. But you guys coming out of school, huge opportunity in finance. Because why? Aging population, right? One of the things that we're looking to do at our firm right now is build future leaders. And it's just simple math. 35% of our workforce, from our top advisors and even our managers, are pre-retiring. So what does that mean? What that means is we're looking to hire and develop individuals now to become our future leaders, to take over books of business of our advisors, to become the future partners, senior partners, and managing partners of the firm, right? It's just that simple. So you can start out in sales, you can work your way up into management, becoming a trainer, a partner like myself. But the real goal in management is to become the overall principal, where you are in charge of the whole operations for New York Life. My managing partner in San Francisco is Kevin Choi. He manages around $250 million in revenue each and every single year. And he makes 7 figures, right? When you're bringing that much money, not bad, right? The hardest thing about that is just the imagination of it. Seriously. Can you imagine yourself doing that? That's all it is. Okay?
Thanks so much for that introduction, John.
Cool. Oh, I forgot. My name is John Magnetan. I'm one of the partners. We appreciate Dr. Souza and the Finance Club for inviting us. Destiny and Josh are alumni of St. Mary's. They've been with the firm for probably a few months right now, and I'm very excited to have them with us. What they're going to be doing is they'll take you through, like I said earlier, the presentation of each and every single meeting with a client. That way you have a better understanding. Okay?
Thank you.
Cool.
And just going off what John said, that has absolutely been my experience talking to people within the financial services industry. I was invited by Oracle to attend their Open World Convention, and what I kept hearing over and over and over again is everyone wants to get into tech, and it's so competitive to get into tech, and all these smart people are moving into tech, that there's so many opportunities in the Bay Area in financial services that aren't being taken advantage of correctly. So that means as finance majors or as people interested in finance, it's a really good time to be a finance major, and there's a lot of opportunities for growth and movement upwards within the financial services industry. So thanks for sharing that, John. Just
huge amounts.
Restating what we know.
Huge amounts.
Just a quick update on the club in general. You're all here today. We have New York Life. We're really happy to have you all here today. Next week, we're going to be having a meeting. That is the 23rd of October, same time, community time. We're just going to be doing an update on where the investment group is in their studies and in their process, and also talking about the CFA challenge, who has been chosen for the team and moving forward with them, and also preparing for our economic real estate forecast, which has been moved to October 30th. Everyone knows about the power outage, so we were forced to replan that event, so it's happening the following Wednesday, October 30th. Everyone got the new flyer for that. Everyone's getting hyped about that and sharing that with anyone in their classes.
And thank John, too. He was a contributing sponsor.
Oh, and thank you to John, one of the very few sponsors we had for the event, who contributed and gave a donation to make our event possible. Thank you very much, John and New York Life. Okay, so I'll just pass it off to you guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome, thank you. So I'll make sure, so I'm going to go ahead and get started with this presentation. Like John mentioned, this is what we do essentially every single day when we meet clients. We take them through this presentation so they have a better understanding of what we do. And then at the end of the presentation, we take down any financial information to better assist them. So this program is called MAH01678. So our first slide, who is New York Life? Have you guys heard of New York Life before? Okay. I know a lot of people maybe seen us on commercials. So the company was founded in 1845 with a startup capital of $17,000. So we've been around for quite a while. Actually, next year we're celebrating 175 years. Fast forward today, we're one of the largest financial institutions in the country. We're actually number 71 on the Fortune 500 list. So we're bigger than some of these household names, Nike, Coca-Cola, McDonald's, and Visa. A lot of our clients are usually pretty appalled. They're like, oh, what? That can't be true. You know, I've never heard of New York Life, so how is that true? Today we manage over $572 billion assets under management. And then in addition to that, we have $24 billion in total surplus. So this is just our just in case money. So if anything were to happen, just like in 2008, economy crashed, we actually bailed out a lot of banks. Back then it was at $12 billion, but now we have $24 billion. So this just goes to show how stable and dependable the company is.
Okay. And so in the financial services industry, size definitely matters, right? But safety is more important. And so New York Life actually earned the highest financial strength ratings awarded to any life insurer by all 4 major credit rating agencies. Okay, and that's really spectacular. I mean, if you look, it's superior, very strong, exceptional, exceptional. Again, just going to show, like Josh mentioned, that we are very safe and dependable as a company. In addition to that, we're also a mutual company, meaning that there are no shareholders in New York Life. We're not publicly traded, so you can't buy stock on New York Life, if that makes sense. Which means then that all company decisions are made based on client interest rather than shareholder interest. Okay, so this is somewhat akin to how a publicly traded bank operates compared to like a credit union, for example. Okay, and so another question that most individuals seem to have, regardless of whether or not they ask, New York Life being one question, but who am I is a second question. So as some of you may already know, I graduated this past May from St. Mary's College, and I was actually studying marketing in my 4 years of being here, but it was upon graduation that I decided that it was time for me to take, steps in the right direction and towards a sound financial future for myself. And so how was I going to do that? I wanted to start by educating myself so that I could go on to educate my friends and family, and then my greater community, especially being very involved here on campus in the Asian Pacific American Student Association, or PLASA for short, as some of you may know. It was really important for me to have an impact going forward into the working world. There you go. All right, but most importantly for clients, I'm a problem-solving coordinator. So the more successful a client may become, the more advisors they may have, right? And that's what all of these circles represent, okay? So my job is to essentially maintain the macro view or the big picture to help make sure that all important issues are being addressed. For some of these issues, I'll be able to solve them with the tools at my own disposal, and then for other ones, I may redirect the client to their appropriate advisor, and then we'll check it off our action items list as they get addressed. Okay, so this slide is just to go show that we play well with others. It's not very often that you'll find your attorney, for example, coordinates with your CPA, and so on and so forth. So we're really good at making sure there's no gaps or redundancies in a financial plan. Alrighty. So this is our process for working with clients. It's broken down into 4 key stages, okay? The first being discovery. So at the end of our meetings, if the client wishes to move forward, or if the individual wishes to move forward, what we'll do is collect financial information, like Josh mentioned. And this stage is really critical because the quality of information the individual is able to provide us with in this stage will ultimately determine our work in the second stage, analysis. Okay, and so at that point, we'll take the information given to us, we'll bring it back to our home office in San Francisco, and then we'll work with our team of professionals there to craft specific strategies and recommendations for their situation. Okay. The third stage is education, and so here we'll reconvene, and then we'll review the individual situation, and then we'll introduce to them the first solution component. We'll educate them on that, and we always say just the first because we're really good at life when it comes to establishing a long-term relationship with clients. We're not really there for, like the one deal and done sort of relationship at all. We're really big about trying to make sure that our clients prioritize their goals accordingly, because we're going to be there to hold their hand as their situation changes, as they get married, as they have a family, get a home, etc. Okay. And the fourth stage is action, and of course this is the most important step because all of the great planning that we're able to do is of no real benefit to the individual unless it moves from the paper to something actionable. Okay. This is a model called the macro asset perspective, or MAP for short, and we like individuals to think about this as their financial house, if you will. So when building a house, you start with what? Foundation. Absolutely. Thank you, Ali. Exactly, it's a foundation, right? So that's what risk management is all about. So we're dealing with risk and protection elements of a financial plan, and so once that's secure, we go on to build up, right, towards a structure, and that's what asset allocation is all about. Okay, so here we're dealing with where you're putting your assets, but then more importantly, why you're putting them there. Okay, it's just a visual we like clients to think about, excuse me, to think about and keep in the back of their head to help them make more financial informed decisions. Okay, and then these are the 4 stages of an individual's financial life cycle. So again, going back to that foundation, we're talking about protection and savings here. And so once that's secure, we can go on to build up towards the structure, and then we're dealing with accumulation now. So here we're dealing with where it is going into the model in terms of the money you're putting in there. You're starting to plan for bigger purchases in life, whether that be buying a house. For some people, it's starting college funding plans for their kids, retirement being another big one. And then that brings me to the 3rd stage, retirement income. So this is actually considered the fun part out of all the 4 stages because now we're dealing with money coming out of that model we just talked about. So at New York Life, we're really good about not just getting our clients to retirement, but also through retirement, right? You may hear some of your parents or even your grandparents talking about this, but the largest fear of most retirees is running out of money in retirement. So we have solutions for that. We're really good about that. And then in the 4th stage is legacy. So obviously we're all pretty young here, but now you're strategizing what you want to do with your assets on your way out of life. And then at this point, we would typically ask the individual where they see themselves in the 4 financial stages of the life cycle. I think for a lot of us, we're probably in 1, right? Protection and savings. Yeah.
Perfect. So after we go through that 4 stages, usually our clients have 2 questions in mind. And then first one being, am I saving enough? And the second one, am I covered for that? So we show them 1-minute videos. We're going to go ahead and play them for you. And then at the end, we have some calculators so they have a better understanding of their own situation.
There are 2 ways to produce income: people at work and money at work. When you started out, it was all you at work. At retirement, it will need to be all money at work. Ideally, when you're halfway there, you should be able to say half your income could come from money at work. The goal is to accumulate enough assets to have the dignity of discretion. If you choose to work in your later years, it should be because you want to, not because you have to. But how much is enough? Many experts recommend planning for 80% of pre-retirement income. You may want to plan for more or less than that, depending on the type of lifestyle you want. If you want to travel the world and do all the things you didn't have time to do when working, you might require a little more. If your dream is reading all the best novels or writing one, you might get by on a little less. Once you've decided how much income you want, simply divide that amount by a conservative withdrawal rate. Some recommend 4%. The result is your target accumulation goal. Now, a simple time value calculation can tell you what your target accumulation would be and the monthly contribution it would take to get there.
Perfect. Any questions? All right, can I have a volunteer? Oh, question?
I have a question.
Yes.
What do you mean by money working for you? Can you talk a little bit more about what that means, money working for someone?
Right, so at New York Life, we want to do the risk management, like we said, visual, where we have the visual representation, and then move up towards asset allocation. So we really want your money working for you, especially at your younger years, and then as you're getting towards retirement. Because in retirement, realistically, we don't want to work. We want to retire comfortably, and I mean, like the video said, just depending on your lifestyle. Others want to travel, Others are okay with just maybe staying at home. So making sure your money is being invested properly, so you have that money in retirement, is crucial.
So when your money is invested, your money is making more money.
Of course, yes.
So that's why you guys are so important, because we give them our money and they know where to invest it. So our money can be making money and we can be making money from our job.
Right, yes. And then we have a group of, I know Destiny mentioned, we have a group of consultants and attorneys at our office, and all this is free of cost to the client. It really just depends what they want to do. It is their financial plan. It is their number. So with that being said, do I have a volunteer to maybe run through this calculation? Yes, your name?
Albert.
Albert. All right, perfect. So how old are you, Albert?
19.
You're 19, perfect. So freshman, right? Sophomore?
Sophomore.
Nice, very cool. When do you want to retire? And now this question's a little different.
102.
And I always tell my clients this question's a little different. Like now and like previously, like with your parents, grandparents, back then they would retire and that's kind of it. Nowadays we want to retire earlier and then still live the same lifestyle we're living now, travel around the world, have those nice things. So I just want to let you know and make sure you have that in mind. So with that being said, when do you want to retire?
How about I want to be part of like the fire movement, so like 40.
What?
You know fire movement? Like
Elaborate.
financial independence, retire early.
This is gonna make a challenge.
Oh, 45?
I
Alright,
think
I'll
that's as low
say-
as it goes.
Yeah, 45.
That's okay.
Want to do 50? Let's
50,
Let's do
yeah,
50.
let's do
50.
Look,
45.
Yes, absolutely.
Actually, it really depends on what the client wants though, right? Because then you're gonna have some clients that could be a little bit delusional, right? Like, oh, I have no money, I want to retire in 10 years. But if someone like Albert really knows what he wants, right? This tool is very important because then we have the ability to really help them. Right? Because if someone says, hey, I really want to retire at 40, well, as long as you're willing to make the sacrifices today, we can still make it happen. But if you're not willing to make the sacrifices today, well, it's just a pipe dream. If that kind of makes sense.
Could you speak a little bit to how you would approach the situation if the client or the individual didn't have they had that delusional mindset? Like, how would you approach it differently as to somebody who has?
I wouldn't.
You wouldn't?
I just be straight up with them. And the reason why, as an advisor, it's not your job to be liked, it's your job to be respected. And if you're there just, like if someone's just giving you random numbers and this doesn't add up, well, you gotta be willing to calm down on that. And the reason why is because then you're not helping them at all, right? Like one of Destiny's clients, that was literally the scenario. The gentleman was like, oh, I'm 40, I want to retire at 50. Well, how much money do you have to put away? Well, nothing. Well, probably not gonna happen, right? But you gotta be comfortable to doing that, because if not, A, you're not gonna be able to do your job, but B, you're not gonna help them out at all. And it's not your job to help everyone either, though, because someone has to be willing to want help to be able to be helped.
yeah, so maybe 50 would be a little bit more realistic. I think that's definitely doable, especially if you're 19. So we're assuming you probably have no current retirement savings. This is essentially like your IRA or maybe your 401k. So that's 0 at the moment. Current annual income. Not earning any, right?
No.
Okay. For the purpose of this presentation, maybe, I don't know, let's say you're earning 70.
Let's say 70.
Okay. $70,000.
I'm the CEO.
So, this percentage here is the desired percentage of income in retirement. So in retirement, would you be okay receiving 80% of that 70,000 each and every single year?
Or 56,000.
Is this like after tax or like say yeah, that 56,000 will I have all 56 of that?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, then 80%.
80%, okay. This is the hypothetical rate of return pretty much pre-retirement. So this is essentially what you expect your investments to grow each and every single year. This can be like your 401k, any investments you have. We typically recommend anywhere from 6 to 7% because that's very doable. Obviously we have some good years, we have some bad years, but overall it averages out to 6 to 7%. And the reason being, if we slide the marker all the way to the right, the screen gets angry. Why? I mean, if you're getting 14% each and every single year, I want to know where you're putting your money because I want to put it there too, you know? So typically 6-7%. So that's totally up to you. Do you think 6-7% is pretty realistic?
Yeah, I'll say 6%.
6%? Okay, perfect. So then we move on to the next percentage. This is the hypothetical rate of return post-retirement. So when you're in retirement, you want to make sure that block of money that you accumulated is still growing, but maybe not as aggressively, because you don't have as much time to kind of catch up if you were to lose so much. So typically anywhere from 3 to 4% is pretty safe, and this is totally up to you. This is your calculation, so I'll rate 4. Okay? So if you wanted to retire at age 50 comfortably with $56,000 coming in each and every single year, if you want to retire today, you need $1.4 million. Now, if we, obviously this is in the future, so if we take into account inflation rate, we're looking at more like $3.5 million to retire at age 50 with $56,000 of annual income. So this takes me to the next slide. To get to that $1.5 million, how much do you think you have to contribute monthly? Or save monthly?
I think
1,300.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you gave you the answer, right? It's okay. So yeah, $1,300. But now let's see what happens if you were to put this off. There's a lot of clients out there like, oh, I don't need this right now. Just wait, and they postpone it and just never get around to it. What do you think that number would look like just to get to the same goal if you were to wait 5 years from now?
2,100. 3,000?
Closer, yeah. 1,871. So just to get to the same goal, you're having to put more money away each and every single month. So this is very crucial. It's essential that you tell your clients that, and really show them the importance of saving.
Was that a difference of $600?
Yes.
660.
That's when I'm 24.
Yeah. There we go.
The
Perfect.
importance of saving very early on.
Very
having
early
that
on, yes. Because remember, our biggest asset, especially us at a younger age, is time. You don't have to be saving up the most, you know, but also maybe not the smallest, something that's valuable to you and that will have a significance, you know, later on in your life.
Is there anything on here where it could say, like, maybe 10 years from now, say I'm like super lazy and I wait 10 years, what would happen?
Yeah, you can go back to the age instead of 19, do 10 years,
So,
and it'll calculate upwards.
Wanna do that?
Just show them to illustrate it.
Here's 29.
Keep everything the same, but it's the age, so it's 29.
Currently?
No, current age is 29.
that's a great question. So retirement 50. Current annual income. Okay, perfect. Oh, sorry. You're good. Yeah.
That's rough.
Yeah, and that's starting now. Now, if you were to wait 5 years after that, you're what, 34?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's how much you'd have to save each and every single month.
Wait, can you do the start now?
Yeah, start now.
Well, that's 32,000 a year.
Yeah.
Say.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And a lot of the times when we're taking, individuals through this calculation, they get sort of paralyzed at seeing, even the start now, right? A lot of the time they haven't been doing what they should have been doing. And so you just sort of have to reassure them and say, you know what, the important thing is that we're sitting down today. Obviously we don't expect you to put away the full amount right now, but even if it's something small, it's still going to be valuable in the end as opposed to waiting, 5 and having to put away a full 4,360, yes.
So, I'm pretty sure a lot of people don't have this amount saved near that time. How do they deal with that? How do you help them deal with that? Say like, there's a guy 45, he has like only 50,000 saved.
And I'll answer that. The way you deal with that is by being honest with them. And what I mean by that is the only thing that changes in the calculation is how much you can retire with, what's the rate of return, right? Or are you willing to make sacrifices today to do it? Because then, if you're not willing to, we can't really help that much.
So
Right.
what would be in terms of sacrifices, like budget cutting, like,
Either that or working longer.
yeah.
Because then the biggest, I'm gonna say this later, but I'll say it now. With any financial service company, the biggest competition that we have is not another firm. There's more money and clients out there for every single firm. The biggest challenge that we have is Amazon, Boba, Starbucks, DoorDash. And the reason why I say that is, what's funner? Spending your money today or saving it for tomorrow? Yeah. Seriously. And that's the biggest challenge when it comes to these calculations. People would rather spend their money today and enjoy it, not realizing that if they're not willing to make a sacrifice today, well, tomorrow they're really big sacrifice. Okay?
Alright, yeah, so it's definitely a wake-up call sometimes, especially with those older clients. And there's really nothing you can do about it except for reassuring them that, hey, this is why we're sitting down, and hopefully we can do something about it to help you kind of minimize that gap. Yes, sir?
Do you guys have the option to like go back through the numbers and walk them through like different numbers like rates of return and stuff like that? Like, look, you don't have this kind of money to be putting away right now. Maybe we drop your rate of return down a little bit. Maybe we can move some numbers around. You want to retire maybe 5 years later,
Mhm.
and then the number looks a lot more pleasing to them. Do you guys have that option?
Yeah.
Or?
The interesting thing about that is, the numbers actually don't change that drastically.
They don't?
Yeah. Because even a couple percent up on an investment will not really make a big difference. Even if you wait 5 years later to retire, it doesn't really make a humongous significance.
Certainly not in 10 years.
Yeah, well, 10 years will start making a big difference, but overall, I mean, like, that's retiring at 70, what, 70 or even older?
But what's your guys' average client like age that comes in to see you guys?
I mean,
This one.
all over the place, you know? Us, we're young, so definitely targeting like younger professionals, anywhere from like recent graduates to maybe 35. And then if we come across any older clients, I mean, that's good, right? But you kind of need to have the guts to even talk to them, because I know a lot of people are always like,
A little bit scary.
yeah, they're scared, like, oh my god, they're earning so much more than me, like, they're not gonna take advice from a 22-year-old or something like that, you know? But that's why you just gotta build up your confidence and kind of make sure you're studying your material. Obviously being registered and whatnot helps a lot too, so, I mean, it depends, your client can be any age. Really just depends who you like to work with too, you know, your target market, right? I'm pretty sure you guys talk about that a lot in your business classes, having that target market, so that's huge.
Do you guys go after certain clients, or do they come to you usually? Are they referred to you, or you guys are out there looking like? Do you guys go to companies that look for people, or?
So that again goes back to like the target market. Obviously we're a couple months into this industry, but the hope would be to grow our business organically, right? And so a lot of the time that is through referrals. If you do a good job with an individual, the likelihood of them referring to you to someone that they care about is very likely, right? So that's the ultimate goal, is to have that business grow organically through referrals, etc. But obviously right now we're still trying to get on our feet, make sure we're inserting ourselves into those target markets that we want to work in, and then we'll go from there.
There's a lot of opportunity too, you know, I mean, you're in the Bay Area, I mean, you got all these like techies and whatnot, right, making so much money, and they just don't know what to do with it. It's like, there's definitely a lot of opportunity, so don't be discouraged by that. You just gotta go out there and find them. And then referrals, I mean, how much better to reach out to someone with some kind of like warm name, you know, you already work with someone else, so that connection's already there, like, why not? Why not build your business organically?
And there is a difference in compensation if you're sitting and clients are coming to you compared to you going out getting it. There's a humongous difference.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
So what I mean by that is this. Merrill Lynch, very good company, right? Utmost respect for them. There's a humongous difference between a Merrill Lynch advisor in the branch and a Merrill Lynch advisor on their own in compensation. Why? Well, the guy in the branch is just sitting there waiting for someone to come and talk to him, while the guy on his own is actually going out and getting and hunting for clients. So they're going to pay that individual more than the one just sitting in the bank. Huge difference.
One more that's going out to grab clients?
Yeah. Because remember, at the end of the day, any company, so they're going to pay someone that's bringing in the money, and any financial services company, your job is to gather assets. And if you're the one that's going out there and gathering those assets, well, I'm going to pay you a little bit more compared to the individual that's just sitting here and waiting for someone to talk to them.
So I got a question for you guys, because you're pretty new to the company.
For you, is it a lot of travel? Do you travel to different places around the Bay Area to meet with clients, or is it mostly in the office, cold calling and reaching out to companies or individuals?
Yeah, so right now it's both, right? Since we're based in our greater San Francisco office, we do see clients there, have client meetings there. At the same time, I'm from East Bay, for example, so I'm from Pittsburgh. So a lot of the market I'm also trying to work in is, locally, right? So it's kind of both, but I mean, yeah, either way, we're still like getting compensated for the travel, so it's not a huge concern.
Well, the company does pay for all travel.
Not, well, for a portion of it. Yeah.
Okay.
Are you able to, how does it work with their contribution, because you guys are 1099 on your
W-2s.
W-2s across the board? Even for,
New advisors, yes. Health insurance, 401k, pensions, we take care of ours.
Pension's a huge thing too.
Yeah, so I'm gonna add on to the question that you have. I think that's the fun part of being in finance, is that your day-to-day doesn't look the same. Like, one of the things I shared with Destiny and Josh early on in the career, I said, if I see you here in the office every single day, one, you're not gonna make any money, right? And two, why would you wanna be a prisoner in here? So as long as you do the things that you do and make sure that the people that you touch knows what you do, you'll get clients. So me as a brand advisor 18 years ago, when I was talking to my manager and I asked him, well, how do I get my clients? He's like, well, what do you enjoy doing? I said, I like going out, I like eating out, I like cars, I like going to clubs. So yeah, do that, but make sure every single person that you touch knows exactly what you do. And that's what I just did.
Always marketing yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just relationship building.
Yeah.
All it is. Okay.
Alright, perfect, so we can go ahead and show you the second video I was talking about. We actually have three, but this is the second one right here. My cover's for that.
Whether building a physical house or a financial house, you start with a foundation. Because a beautiful home or a hefty portfolio can collapse if it's not well supported. Each block in your financial foundation protects against a particular risk. Some of the blocks are insurance-based to protect your assets, belongings, or loss of income. Other blocks include emergency savings and debt management to protect against unplanned expenses and interest erosion. Wills and trusts provide protections for the treatment of your assets in a variety of ways, both during and after your life. An estate planning attorney can be of great help here. One often overlooked block is protecting your charitable contributions beyond your life in the form of foundations, endowments, and scholarship funds. Life insurance is the cornerstone because it protects your most valuable asset, your ability to earn a lifetime of income, and because it can strengthen multiple blocks at once. So whether you've already amassed significant assets or you're just getting started, make a list of any blocks that may need some attention and discuss solutions with the appropriate advisors. Then, once your foundation is secure, you can turn your focus to planning and building your financial house.
Any questions on the video or any of these building blocks that they mentioned? No, pretty straightforward.
Just talk a little bit more about the importance of insurance. You guys are the second largest insurance company
No,
in the United States. The largest? The largest, my bad. The largest insurance company in the United States. Can you just speak a little bit more about the importance of insurance and how that incorporates into your job?
Yeah, so I'll go ahead and answer that. So insurance, isn't exactly the most exciting part when it comes to a financial plan, right? Typically, there's sort of like this, like, oh, okay, that's great, and yeah, I get it, I get why it's important, but let's talk about like the sexy stuff, like the investments, okay? But literally, it's like the video mentioned, the cornerstone of any financial plan. So, it's important, it's like the basis of it, it goes back to that foundation that we talked about, right? That, financial house. If this is not secure, these building blocks, and specifically life insurance, is not secure as a foundation, you have the structure, but it collapses without it, right? So, yeah.
I'll give an example, especially as students. What's the biggest debt that most students have? Student debt. And because the numbers are getting astronomically high, who's co-signing with you? Yeah. Okay, what does that mean? Meaning that if you don't have the ability to pay that student debt, you're no longer here. Your parents are still on the hook. That's where the life insurance will come into play. we could basically make sure that even if something goes wrong, you're no longer here, your parents are clear of that. At the same time, they have the ability to basically help you save and invest your money to do what? Get married, start a family, buy that first home. Because why? Depending on the habits that you get once you finish school, you can either be pretty good or really bad, right? And that's where our advisors have a really big impact, just even in just your age group, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay?
Then last video right here, my body.
Human life value is a legal term. It refers to the lifetime income earning ability of a person and is often used to award damages in wrongful death lawsuits. While the full value of a life is immeasurable, the economic value can be reasonably calculated. Here's how. You start with a person's current annual income, adjusting each year for estimated raises, and add up all the years left until retirement, equaling the total of that person's projected income from work. But if that person could not work, we need to calculate how much money it would take to produce that same income stream over the same number of years. The result is a person's economic human life value. This valuation is also helpful in determining a proper amount of life insurance. With a premature death, emotional consequences cannot be avoided, but financial consequences can. The solution is to carry an amount of life insurance equal to one's human life value. That way, in the event of a death, nothing else has to change. The family can stay in the house because they can still afford the mortgage. College funding plans stay on course. Family vacations still happen. Inputting a few numbers into a time value calculation can help you determine your own human life value.
Okay, so what this calculation, one more time. Like I was saying though, what this calculation does is a lot of people are always wondering like, am I overinsured, am I underinsured, like what's the right amount? And for my situation, depending on, if I have a family of my own, etc. So this helps with that. So we're gonna go ahead and just go through the calculator. Yes?
There's a quick question.
Yes.
Say someone does unfortunately pass and then they get their life insurance for the family. Will they get the whole sum of money in one time, or is it like per year kind of thing?
I like that. I like that question. I'll answer that.
Okay.
So it depends on what they want. They can either do it as a lump sum. You could do it where the company, so that's one. Number two is we could keep the money and it'll grow interest on you, and you could just write checks from that account. We could do periodical payments, basically whatever the client wants. At the same time, there's also another opportunity though for our advisors to go back and try to gather those same assets. We have an advisor in our office, Albert actually, not you Albert, but another Albert, right? And it was interesting because it was a young couple in their early 20s, married, had a child. They got $1 million worth of life insurance. The commission to the advisor was literally only probably like $150. The advisor wasn't gonna go originally to Truckee. Truckee's pretty far, right?
Yeah.
Pretty far for $200, right? Didn't want to go, but we made him go as a manager. You gotta go, right? Within a year and a half, the husband actually died. He got hit by a drunk driver, right? So imagine now you have a 23-year-old widow with a baby who's got $1 million. What are they gonna do? So the advisor went back to that client, created a trust for the child, right? Did some investment planning, got a little bit more insurance now for the single mom, completed the circle, right? So it's a never-ending process with clients, not just upon death. It's always continuous relationship, over and over and over. And then to go on this, on the human life value, first part. So Albert going back to being 29, but let's start if he was 19. Making 70,000. Do you expect a 3% annual increase?
Like a raise?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Pretty simple, right? That's how much you're gonna earn. So from now until you retire, that's what you expect to earn. Go to the next slide. And then let's say you did have life insurance. Like to all of us, like $500,000 seems like a lot, right? Like, oh, $500,000 for insurance is a lot of money. Okay? If Albert, who's married, has a child earning $70,000 each year, well, that $500,000 will only last that family 7.4 years. And this is where the family starts really seeing the real impact of having insurance. The saving kind of puts everything together, right? Any questions? Pretty cool, huh? It's a cool app. It's a really cool app.
So you use that app when you're actually working with clients?
In every single meeting, yeah.
Cool.
So what was your name? Sorry. Colton. So Colton said it kind of hits you like a brick, right? Like just like you just slammed into a wall. It's so true though, right? And it's not like it's not the client's fault, right? If I went to medical school, well, guess what I know? Medicine, right? If I went to St. Mary's and learned like, I don't know, like computers, well, I know computers. Not a lot of individuals actually have a background in understanding finance, and even just the basics of it, right? So that experience when you have with a client, your job is not, you want to be respected, but you also want to make them feel reassured. I had an experience when I was an advisor, before I got into management. 2008 was pretty crazy, right? Dr. Susan knows 2008 was really crazy.
Still have
Right?
I still have scars.
Yeah, a lot, and the interesting thing about that scars is there's still a lot of individuals out there that still have the mental scars. I went out to meet a client, and the client kept on talking about 2008, 2009, 2010. We had this family business, we're making all this money, we lived in a bigger house, and all this stuff. And I kept on saying, yes, that's great, but where are you today? And it was like literally within an hour of that conversation, we just kept on going back and forth to that, back and forth. And finally, I just got fed up, and I said, no, I can't do anything about the past. But I can help you understand where you are today, and more importantly, I can help you plan for the future. And at that time, the husband didn't even sit with us. He was doing the dishes, he just didn't want to be bothered. And he says, oh, amen, thank God someone finally told her that. Right? And then from there, boom, we had a real way to start helping them. But it's hard, right? Managing your money is pretty hard. And depending on what your experiences are with your family, the way you grew up, we have these kind of like mental challenges with it. And that's where, as an advisor, your job is not to put your own situation into that, just making sure the client understands their current situation. And that's where the app or the tool really helps. Right? I love the cartoons, right? Because imagine before, it was mostly just us talking, and sometimes clients just get really lost in that conversation. But with the calculation, the video, it's very direct, but still very reassuring.
You're basically writing a whole proposal in a matter of like 10 seconds. It's crazy.
Yeah.
How fast and easy and
Yeah.
it is to understand for the client.
Yeah.
That is very impressive.
Yeah. Pretty cool. And this is just the basic. When it comes to the actual investment, we have another application, which is a little bit more in depth, so we're not going to go into it today. But it even gets a little bit even crazier than that, right? But the reason why the company spent all this money and resources to build this is because it's the level of communication people do nowadays, right? Your peers will listen to you more than they'll listen to me just because I'm a lot older, or even to Dr. Souza, right? Because that is that rapport. Is that rapport. Seriously, when I meet with some young people, they're like, oh, you're too old. I'm like, I'm 39.
Actually, his birthday today, so
Happy birthday! You celebrating today?
No, I'm actually going out with Josh for a client meeting later.
we'll have some drinks
Doesn't
after, it's
involve
okay.
drinks.
But that's what they do basically day in, day out. Like I said earlier, there's a lot of opportunities in financial services right now, especially here in the Bay Area, because when you have so much wealth being generated by the tech companies, they just don't know what to do with the money. Seriously. Imagine these tech individuals are earning more money than even their parents. They don't know how to navigate their stock options, their 401k, their retirement account. All they know is I get money, oh, time to get boba, right? Time to get pizza, time to hang out. And And it's interesting because even individuals that we meet or they meet, and they're making like 6 figures, and you ask them, well, how much money do you have in the bank? 3,000, 4,000? Like, where'd the money go? Right? It's because we're inundated to buy stuff. We're inundated to buy stuff. And that's what an advisor's job is, to understand, well, you can do that, but where's that going to really lead you tomorrow? Right? Where's that going to lead you for tomorrow? Okay? Any questions?
Question for you guys. Since you guys are recent graduates and a few months into the business, how did you guys get into New York life?
Actually, I met John at a one-stop job shop here on campus. So New York Life has a really good relationship with St. Mary's. And the interview process, I think I went in for like 3 or so, and here I am. So I was still interviewing when I was in school. I really wanted to have a job straight out, so that was important to me.
Yeah, same. Met him here at one of the career fairs shops. Actually, I joke around like, oh, it's our 1-year anniversary because it was like literally like a year from today is like when we met and went through the whole process. Was pretty on board. So yeah, I definitely take advantage of all of the resources here on campus. That's how I got my internship too, my junior year. Didn't like what I was doing there, but I mean, it was still an internship. I mean, resume builder, right? Yeah, but definitely take advantage of your resources here.
Good school.
Yeah. And our number 2 guy, so our corporate vice president of the whole company, went to St. Mary's. And he serves on the board of regents here at St. Mary's as well.
Yeah, Mark Magic.
Yeah, Mark Magic. And
I
then
call him Professor X.
Reach out on
He's bald, and when he speaks, it's like he's reading your soul. He's like, oh, it's good, reading my soul. Really good guy, though. And the interesting thing is, he started his career as an advisor like Daphne and Josh. They actually have a pathway where they're just trying to learn the basics of what we do, and their whole thing is wanting to get into management. It's one of those, and going back to the whole opportunity, everyone starts in the firm in sales to gather assets. But the opportunities are either staying in professional sales where you're managing your client's assets, or for certain individuals wanting to get into management. And the reason why that is, some people are just better managers than they are in sales. And that's why it's huge, because then you can really write your own ticket. With our contract, black and white, it tells you how to get promoted. It literally just tells you how to get promoted. And the reason why we do that is because the more that you know on how to reach your goals, the higher probability you're going to hit it. Compared to me as a manager deciding. Even me as a manager, I'm not allowed to do sales. I'm fully licensed, right? I have a lot of experience. My strict responsibility is to find talent and groom their talent to their full potential. So I go out with, I always joke around like, oh, me and you are going to be best friends for the next year or so until you really get your bearings, right? But because I can't do sales, I go out with them on a day-to-day basis, going through the clients, because it's easier to learn that way instead of just, here's a book, good luck to you, right? You can do it, buddy, right? We'll actually go show you. At the same time, when we hire one individual, and that's why we interview a lot of individuals, we spend upwards of $250,000 just in the first 3 years in training, compensation, and benefits. Right? They're W-2, they're not 1099 like most other firms. My office, we have 2 full-time trainers, we have 10 product consultants, advanced planning attorneys, investment consultants, and their strict job is just to train and help you go close business. One of my advisors went out with one of our advanced planning attorneys, Ari Singh. The client is paying New York Life currently $10 grand a month on life insurance alone, right? And people are like, why would someone pay $10,000 for life insurance? Well, it's an estate plan, meaning this individual is worth probably $20 million, and when she passes away, because she's a single mom, her kids have to come up with the money in 9 months, cash. And life insurance is the cheapest way of doing it, because she's really paying pennies on the dollar. The attorney did all the work. The client's paying New York Life $10,000 a month. The advisor, guess how much they made on that one deal? Jared, how much?
93 basis points on a
Oh, no, remember, we're not having basic points on life insurance.
Oh, right. What is it?
50% of annual.
So you make 60 grand off the account?
Yeah, you made $60,000, one client. Not bad. right? And all you gotta do is just build that relationship, gather all the information, and we'll take care of the rest until you learn.
And do your advisors make bonuses if they hit a certain target of their sales per year?
The more money, Jared knows because Jared actually came into interview with our firm. Any company out there, New York Life, Merrill Lynch, Mass Mutual, all the companies, the more money you generate, the more money they're gonna give you. I just know ours is pretty rich, because I have an advisor here who graduated from St. Mary's 15 years ago. Been with us for 15 years. He's 38. Last 12 months, he's made $950,000. Right? Lives in an Alamo. Did he make that in the beginning? No, he didn't make that in the beginning. But because he put in the time and effort, and this guy, he knew what he wanted coming out of school. He knew what he wanted coming out of school. Right? Fast forward today, not bad.
St. Mary's, baby. St. Mary's.
Go Wheels.
Did he pursue the advisor path? Or
He's
the
an advisor. He
Just an
doesn't want my role because he's like, I don't want to like manage people's emotions. I just want to be responsible for me, responsible for my lifestyle. That's all he's responsible for, and his client, of course, right?
That's like an important point too. It's not always, just because it's a promotion doesn't mean that a manager role is something that you're interested in doing. You have to know how you work with the team and whether or not you prefer to work on your own managing clients or you prefer to work
Yes.
managing a team.
Yeah.
It's important to know your strengths. That is a good point. Thanks for sharing that.
I have one more question. How's the work environment so far for you guys? Do you find that it's like intermixed with wisdom, people that are older in the company that have great wisdom and like knowledge, and then also like the young kids that are just coming out? So it's also you have that what word am I looking for?
That balance.
Dynamic.
Balance, the
Work-life
dynamic.
balance.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like Mr. Magnating over here said, 30% of kind of like our workforce is kind of like on the older spectrum, so we're definitely looking for new talent. So there's definitely a good mix in the office, at least in the San Francisco office. Older people and then like a lot more younger people. So it's definitely a good mix. And then if you need help, it's always there. You just gotta ask for it.
And the cool thing is this presentation right here, even in different languages. We have the same thing in Spanish. We're working on the Chinese, but it's a bit challenging, but we're gonna get it done. So the company spends a lot of resources when it comes to different cultural markets out there. That's just the future, right? And we have in-language material. Most firms don't do that just because of liability, but we do it because we want to affect communities. And if it's not in their language, how do you really educate somebody?
It's pretty legit too. I mean, I use the Spanish version of this a lot of the times too, and a lot of the materials. I mean, pretty straightforward, and it translates very well. I know sometimes it can be a little funky, like I don't know that's what it means, you know, but it's pretty straightforward and very good translation. So, I mean, I could have done this presentation to you guys in Spanish, but obviously, that would have worked out right. No, but it's pretty legit. So that's a great point there.
One last thing, and then we'll end it. It's the only career I know in financial services where in the beginning of your career you got to put a lot of time and effort, right? Meaning that you got to be willing to do more than 40, 50, 60, sometimes 70 hours a week. But the longer you're in it, the more money you make and the less you actually have to work. And it's not because it's something special or anything like that. It's just the way the competition works for most of the financial service company. When you're managing people's money, as long as they're your client, you get paid year after year after year. Even if they don't do anything new. Right? Jared's seen it, so. Okay? Any last questions, then we'll go?
Quick question. You kind of hit on training. Is there like a certain amount of like years you get training for, and how does that work?
Yeah, so training is in the first 3 years. But while you're training, you're still earning money. Happens Mondays to Fridays. In the first year, it's really intensive. And as the years progress, it kind of wings off. But it's always ongoing, right? Because then, you know, Dr. Susan knows finances change all the time just because of tax rules, right? And every time something changes with the taxes, the planning has to change, right? So it's always ongoing. But the bulk of the business is always going to be that relationship building, and that never changes.
And as far as training goes, I think that's one of the things that really separates New York Life, apart from, other companies out there that are also doing insurance. It's extensive, the training, and so you're really going to know everything there is to know. Again, we have trainers, development managers, that'll go, with us on our appointments, our managing partners, the consultants, so you have plenty of resources. It's not like they just kind of just throw you out there and hope for the best. It's really great.
We joke around, he's our chauffeur.
Pretty nice man, yeah.
It's really great to see how your relationship with a partner at New York Life is so close. It's not, in my experience, it's not normal for kind of the associate levels to be so close with a partner, which is like the very top. So I think it's really great to see your guys' relationship. Thank you so much. Can you give us an idea of next steps for students? Just based on my research from Handshake, I know that positions for internships and jobs aren't currently on Handshake. Can you give us kind of a timeline for next steps for students who would be interested in working with you all?
So all I need is your information, and I'll reach out to you guys, and I'll invite you guys into the office to do a little bit more formal presentation. We have opportunities right now. We're trying to interview individuals right now for next year's hires, or also next year's interns. There's an individual actually right now that I'm talking to. You saw me earlier with him. He's looking at getting the internship program with us. And I told him, like, hey, well, as an intern, we're going to help you get all your license. We're going to get you up to speed. That way, once you finish school, you can go start making money. So we're starting to do interviews for internships and full-time positions for next year. So if you're interested, you want to find out a little bit more information, please give me your information, and then I'll invite you guys to the office,
And we have the sign-in sheet from today. If you didn't sign in today, we're going to give him the mailing list of everyone who is here today.